Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man. The Truth Man. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. Shout out to YouTube for allowing me to be known and seen and heard a little more. I appreciate it. You know, I ain't getting as shadow banned as I was, but I'm still being kind of shadow banned. So I've been trying to, I ain't even been laying it on y'all like I can, excuse me. Because of this, because I want to keep this channel up and running, you know, so people can learn, you know, but there are people out there that don't want you to learn. They'll promote psychopathic lyrics and allow psychopathic lyrics, which has to do with Stockholm Syndrome. I'm going to show you. To be seen, heard, and like button clicked more than what you're about to hear today. It's a reason why the world is the way it is. And one of the main reasons is the Stockholm Syndrome. I'm going to be reading a lot, and y'all know I got my notes. Y'all already know how it's going to go when I got the notes. There's no way I can break this down effectively without notes. And I'm not going to go all the way into it because I don't want no smoke from them peoples like that. Like I'm trying to get somewhere, you know what I mean? Prophetically. Trying, you know, a prophet to the world. The Most High going to protect me, and he going to attack my enemies. And if they do anything before he say, I'm good. You know, he going to take care of it. Ain't no bodyguard like the Most High God himself. So, Stockholm Syndrome. Let's break this down, y'all. This is important. We finna be all over. We finna talk. Woo. Man, listen. If you didn't know what this was before, this is going to explain to you a lot of what you're seeing in your city, your country, and your life. You may be experiencing this. You may be suffering from this. We're going to be all over the place, but I'm going to make sure that I give you the spoon feeding that you need to understand this when it's all done. Now, Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome, well, I'm looking at something, is a coping mechanism. This is what is defined as by the medical experts at myclevelandclinic.org. It's not me. I'm not a licensed professional. I'm only regurgitating the information that the licensed professionals put out concerning this. Stockholm Syndrome is a coping mechanism to a captive or abusive situation. Let me read that again because this is important. Stockholm Syndrome is a coping mechanism to a captive or abusive situation. People develop positive feelings towards their captors or abusers over time. That's why it'll be something that's sinister behind the scenes, that people will be vouching for it, getting mad at you for it, hating you for it, if you understand it. Things that happened recently. I'm telling y'all, that there were people that were literally vouching for those who had hidden evil motives on certain things. Jobs were vouching. People on the jobs were vouching. People in everyday life was vouching. Listen, how we all done lost woke people. You ain't gonna have that many friends. You know who gonna be your friends? And woke people, we ain't talking about this fake woke. We talking about the no matrix woke. The only people that's gonna be your friends is people who ain't tied to any sinister groups, and people who understand to your level or to a level that's good enough where they will want to deal with you. Everybody else is going to be associates. Everybody else is going to hate you. People you grew up with, they not going to be your friends no more. They going to be arguing with you on Facebook. Twitter, Instagram. Your own people that you went to kindergarten with, that you grew up with in your neighborhood, will literally be trying to get your videos removed, trying to get your channels removed, trying to get your posts, your platforms removed. And then they'll come on, guys, like, man, for real? And it was them. Why do people do this? Because they suffer from the Stockholm syndrome. People try to follow the masses when they're wrong because they suffer from Stockholm syndrome. See, it don't matter how well you groom yourself. It don't matter how much you think you learned in school. None of this matters. You have truth, you have error. You have truth, you have falsehood. If you sign with falsehood, if you sign with evil, if you sign with error, then you suffer from Stockholm syndrome, according to the definition thereof. Now let's look into it a little more. Stockholm syndrome is a psychological response to being held captive. Trying to be on food stamps for 30 years instead of going all out trying to get off. Stockholm syndrome. Rather, keeping your salary low. Suffering through the year just for an income tax refund. Stockholm syndrome. I'm going to give you plenty of examples, but let's get back to it. People with Stockholm syndrome form a psychological connection with their captors and begin sympathizing with them. Your supervisor is racist. You taking up for him. Stockholm syndrome. Your supervisor don't like a certain guy because of how he talks, how he dresses, how he thinks, who he voted for. And you agreeing with him in the office, laughing with him or her. Stockholm syndrome. You fake like you agree with people, but you really don't like them because you're jealous of them because you suffer from depression and they don't. Stockholm syndrome. Let's get back to it. Oh yeah. Y'all finna find out why the United States is so messed up. Why we can't get the crime rate down. Why we got a high divorce rate. Why they be in court belittling men. Making them feel small. Trying to take up for women. Stockholm syndrome. You grew up with a single mother. Your father divorced your mother. Your mother could have been the reason. But all you can look at is the fact that he left. Stockholm syndrome. And now you Stockholm syndrome and people in family court and other levels of court. That judge that keep letting criminals off. Stockholm syndrome. Let's keep going. So listen to this. People with Stockholm syndrome, we're going to get into why they call it that too, form a psychological connection with their captors and begin sympathizing with them. That's the woman who wants to get great, who is her fantasy. Stockholm syndrome. In addition to the original kidnapper hostage situation, Stockholm syndrome now includes other types of trauma. I gotta say it like that just in case they try to shadow ban. In which there is a bond, but they shouldn't shadow ban this because this is medical professionals. This is their definition, not mine. That's why I'm reading it. Other types of trauma in which there's a bond between the abuser and the person being abused. Kid chasers. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That P word. Stockholm syndrome. The kid that start trusting them. Stockholm syndrome. Both of them suffer from it. Many medical professionals consider the victim's positive feelings toward their abuser a psychological response, a coping mechanism that they use to survive the days, weeks, or even years of trauma or abuse. I got a couple movies for y'all, and I'm going to mention the other movie, Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. It's an old movie. You can rent it on YouTube. If you want to understand what the Stockholm Syndrome is, watch that movie. Look at how those people started to act towards Al Pacino and his gang. That's Stockholm Syndrome. The movie Fortress, I think that was the name of it, with the guys with the masks. And they basically went to the school and they got all them kids and the teacher. I think that's the name of it. It's one of them old movies that we used to watch. Like, I used to watch that a lot. It used to come on HBO all the time when I was little. How they tried to act to survive, that's somewhat what we call Stockholm Syndrome. People, how can I say this? People who had to do that certain thing to keep their job, instead of leaving and figuring out something else, that created Stockholm Syndrome. Because what they did with some of them, and I know because my old job, you know, I gotta watch how I say this. They basically made the workers do a certain thing. And now those people who had to do it, they trying to sympathize and they make excuses. Man, I just, blah, 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 blah. And don't dare say somebody passed away. Don't say, well, they gonna get mad if you try to say that might be the reason. The Mar Hamlin thing. People was getting triggered. Stockholm Syndrome. Triggered by those who were trying to figure out. Who is that? They coming over here? Triggered by those just trying to figure out, was he still alive and what was the reason why he collapsed on the field like that? Stockholm Syndrome. Let's get back to it. This not gonna be my shortest video, y'all. I'm sorry. If you can't handle long videos, just come back. Write down where you was at and come back. So, they got some other psychological conditions that they are kind of closely linked. And that's trauma bonding, which is what we talked about. Learned helplessness. Man, I'm just trying to survive. You in the richest country in the world. I'm just trying to survive. Okay, so you think the only way you can get money and food is by committing crime. Stockholm Syndrome. You suffering from it. People who listen to things that will get them killed or locked up and they try to live by it. Stockholm Syndrome. See, I'm about to mess everything up. And sometimes the person is putting the music out. They're writing it or reciting it. Stockholm Syndrome with them too. So, how did the Stockholm Syndrome get its name? This condition gets its name from a 1973 bank robbery incident that happened in Stockholm, Sweden. I believe the movie Dog Day Afternoon, because it came out the same year, with Al Pacino, was probably loosely based off of the Stockholm Syndrome and the event that happened in Sweden. During the 6-day standoff with police, many of the captive bank employees became sympathetic towards the bank robbers. That's Stockholm Syndrome. Somebody making you lay on the ground and all this, all that. You supposed to be in your mind, I hope they go to jail for life. They putting you in danger to benefit themselves or gratify themselves somehow. And Stockholm Syndrome is when you sympathize with it. Remember the movie Misery? He was pretending Stockholm Syndrome just to get himself together to be able to escape. He was pretending it. So it says, after they were set free, some bank employees refused to testify against the bank robbers in court and even raise money for their defense. Women who are fans of serial killers, Stockholm Syndrome. Talking about you turn me on. Women who like pookies. Women who like the guy that treat them the same way as the guy that did them the worst. Stockholm Syndrome. This is why you got to be careful when you're trying to marry these women. Because if you a good, oh my goodness, man. Listen to this. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you like this. If you try to marry a woman, let's say you a thug. She wants to marry you while you're a thug or while you fresh out of thuggery. Then, after you start to change, she tries to control you and ends up destroying the relationship, right? Watch this. And ends up down the line with a guy that's a thug. She suffers from Stockholm Syndrome. See, they can say they don't like those types, but just keep watching. Look at who they have sex with and look at who they get close to. Making fried chicken for a criminal. Stockholm Syndrome. You helping them bag the dope up. Stockholm Syndrome. He get caught. You trying to get people to lie for him in court. Stockholm Syndrome. I'm about to come down your streets. I'm the Amazon driver right now. I got thousands of packages in my truck. Millions, hopefully. Hopefully this can go viral. It would if they let it. Because this is important. So when that happened, like I said, they were sympathizing with the criminals. Like, watch that movie, Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. People who like Thanos, Thanos is their favorite character, Stockholm Syndrome. People who were mad when Michael Myers got crushed up in the grinder, even though I don't believe that was him. I think Halloween ain't over yet. Stockholm Syndrome. I'm sitting there watching it because I watch stuff. I ain't gonna lie. I don't watch everything. I don't just flood myself with, But I'm gonna tell you, I watch Halloween Ends, man. I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm the truth, man. What can you say? The people who gonna like me, and the people who ain't regardless. That's just how it is. And part of it is because of Stockholm Syndrome. When a person is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, you could be a good person, but they gonna twist everything you do. You drink a beer, one beer, they gonna say you drunk. You play a shooter game, they gonna say you backslid. People who's I gotta make sure I, don't go too far with this, but I'm gonna go far enough for you to understand. What are the symptoms of Stockholm Syndrome? People who have Stockholm Syndrome have positive feelings toward their captors or abusers, sympathy for their captors' beliefs and behaviors. The slave master on the slave on the plantation, that the master is evil, but he's good to him Or he pretends to be good to him because he wants him to watch the other slaves. And so when the slaves escape, he goes and tells the master and they get caught. Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Especially if he took whoopings before from that same master. Now, other symptoms are similar to post-traumatic stress disorder and include flashbacks. That correctional officer who grew up in some of those same conditions, who won't look at how he needs to deal with them. I worked in corrections. I know a lot of people in corrections suffer from Stockholm syndrome. You don't condone evil behavior. You don't reward bad behavior. People hated me because I was not rewarding bad behavior. I was rewarding good behavior. I even had people, I'm going to show you how I understand this stuff. They was getting mad at me because I had every unit I went on, I had the whole unit on their toes because I would always have some of the guys working with me to keep the unit in line. They'll be in their doors watching. Hey, Howard, he just traded food. Because they know they weren't supposed to be trading. You know what I do? I go right up there and give them something for their work. People hated me for that. But the reason why I did it was because I understand Stockholm syndrome. See, everybody is capable of doing good, but people are bombarded with evil to the point where they can't even see good. If you know what good is, you have to make them see it. And so the other staff and some of the other kids, man, how are they going trying to go over my head, get me in trouble and stuff? Because I used to be like, I gave them rewards. Snack bag. Listen, the police do the same thing. I called it the Howard Police Department. And the other staff maybe grew up a single mother, whatever their trauma was, they hated me for it. But they shouldn't even care what I did or how I ran my unit if you ain't on there with me. See, these are some of the reasons why I'm not there. It's not because I didn't want to work with the kids no more, even though the incident that happened before I left, that didn't make me not want to work with the kids. It was the staff and stuff they were doing that they shouldn't have been doing, saying that they shouldn't have. You should not care who I vote for. If you can't beat me down in debate and disprove the reason why I vote for who I vote for, you should not care. People care when they suffer from Stockholm syndrome. What has Biden done? And people who suffer from Stockholm syndrome, the truth is that Biden is not doing as good of a job as Trump. That's the truth. Whether non-Trump supporters, everybody know that's the truth. Trump wasn't perfect, but Biden didn't do better than him. Wanting to look at the negativity with Trump, Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome. Then these same people try to hide. I've been challenging them for the last 2 years. They won't even respond. But on my Facebook, the people who are supporting, they was putting Trump memes up. They was doing this, they was doing that, but won't none of them respond because they're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. And that's why some of them, I don't even talk to them no more. Because sometimes friendships are made to be broken as well. You can't be friends with somebody that's suffering from Stockholm syndrome if you're not. I done stopped dealing with a couple people for this reason. So the symptoms: flashbacks, feeling distrustful, irritated, jittery, or anxious, can't relax or enjoy things that you previously enjoyed. Stockholm syndrome is it's the cousin to narcissism. They related. Trouble concentrating. Now, let's go into some of my notes. Oh, man. Like I said, the Al Pacino movie, Dog Day Afternoon, is a perfect example. If you have time, it might be free on YouTube. I don't know. I think you got to pay for it, but try to find it. It could be free. You need to watch that. Then you'll understand what the Stockholm Syndrome is, because that's one of the main things that's destroying this country. The abuser wants to keep that thing away from you, or those things away from you that will show you the truth that they don't want you to find. That creates Stockholm Syndrome in a person. Now you got all of these people that get fighting mad over God. Listen, man, whether you choose to believe or not, it's either going to be true or false, right? So why would you hate people because they believe and you don't? And why would you hate people because you believe and they don't? Stockholm Syndrome. You claim hardly nobody, the number is so small, and nobody gonna come out and say, I worship the devil. But yet, mention the Bible to them and their behaviors, you sure would think so. Stockholm Syndrome. Stockholm Syndrome. Like I said, coping mechanism to a captive or abusive situation. First person I got mentioned is panda bears. They all over YouTube trying to debate. Like only ones that I would debate is if I had a smoke show and they came there trying to debate me. But all that talking over all that stuff, you will get blocked. I don't play that. If me and you have a dialogue, I'm gonna listen to you, you gonna listen to me, and you ain't gonna be talking the whole time. Simple as that. So, panda bear, Stockholm Syndrome, any man that has experienced the negativity of female nature to the full extent of being physically attacked, having his money extorted, put out / been made homeless by her, guys that live with him, a divorce that was more hurt than him, that still sympathizes with him, that still comes in this red pill space, in this manosphere, to combat what we say. You suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Because if we look at your experience, your previous experiences, if anybody knows why we say the things we say, it's some of you who try to come against us. Now, I don't know if you coming against us for views, but based on your experiences, you either should stay out of it or be over here with us trying to educate people. Stockholm Syndrome people are in this space, like Derek Jackson, Stockholm Syndrome, all the way. On both sides, people who still listen to him and him. He's still talking the same stuff. Stockholm Syndrome is the nephew of grifting. It's the cousin of narcissism. All of this stuff is related. He's still talking that stuff. Some of y'all need to learn how to make money. You think you know? Yeah, you making a lot, but look, you degrading yourself. You degrading yourself because you live in a lie. And you live lies because of Stockholm Syndrome. Now, sex traffickers. If Andrew Tate was doing that, Andrew Tate, you need to shut the hell up, and I don't care how much money you got. If it's true, why are we still hearing from you? Stockholm Syndrome. People who listen to you suffering from it, and you suffering from it. If you was really doing that. If you wasn't, I apologize. I'm saying if. You doing that to get money? And then people, oh, he's the king. Stockholm syndrome. If he is doing that. Now, let me show you something about pimps. Pimps, their philosophies contain truth and accuracy, some of them. But if you sympathize with them, if you see them as heroes, these movies, this, that, and the other, you suffer from Stockholm syndrome. See, there's pimps in Milwaukee. I didn't mistreat them. The main thing you should do with a pimp is not emulate what he does, but listen to what he say. Don't make a hero out of him. That's Stockholm syndrome. That's like people, like I said, who like Thanos. If you sympathize with this or those who do this, sex traffickers, if your mother or father neglected you, yet you would kill someone over them. Stockholm syndrome. People who we don't know everybody's family relations. Like, I got a cousin. I understand why she loves her mother so much. The same reason I do. One of the realest person you'll ever meet. That's not Stockholm syndrome, but I'm going to tell you what is. The flip side. People who mother wasn't there for them, didn't teach them, didn't know them, blah, 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 and they exalting them. Stockholm syndrome. Ran their father off, wouldn't let them see him, and they know it, but they still acting like she the best. Stockholm syndrome. You exalt people who have benefited you in your life positively. That's it. People who love and admire people based on certain things, but not based on what they do. That's a form of Stockholm syndrome as well. It's all over the place. It's the reason why we can't get the murder rates right down. It's the reason why people, this is still the richest country in the world. Yet in this country, we have homelessness, which is Stockholm syndrome on both sides in some cases. We have a climbing murder rate in all these cities. We have these kids who do heinous crimes. Nobody wants to confront them. They in these jails trying to be their best friend. You should be there for them. But the balance is you still should be showing them wrong. Stockholm syndrome. You were so scared of this person. You start sympathizing with them. Watch that movie, man. I'm telling you, Dog Day Afternoon. If you're in a horrible marriage and you're still telling people to get married, and you're without detailing your experience truthfully, you suffer from Stockholm syndrome. You suffer from Stockholm syndrome. Your wife, look how your wife do you. And you still telling people, yeah, man, just go in and get married, man. You love a man who beats you with his fist. Stockholm syndrome. I don't care if his wing ding 20 inches and he can go 2 hours. And he lick. This ain't for kids, y'all. If you love that dude, Stockholm syndrome. Women who like getting, how can I say this? Physically altered, whether it's by getting grabbed by the neck or hair pull, all that, you suffer from a form of Stockholm syndrome as well. Especially if you get mad at the next man for not doing it. You get a dude that just want to slow roll you. Take his time. You don't like him because he ain't pulling your hair. He ain't slapping you, telling you, shut up, B. He ain't got you tied. Listen. Let's keep going. You share a woman. You're sharing a woman / love a woman who withholds sex from you or has other partners. Swinging, Stockholm syndrome. You're gonna be traumatic, whether you know it or not. You're gonna experience trauma from that. You gonna be seeing if that dude just rock your girl more than you gonna be seeing that in your mind from now on. But I'm gonna help you understand Stockholm syndrome. I'm gonna show you what, I can't go into everything, but I'm gonna show you the mindset that you need to have. Stockholm syndrome is matrix, flat out. You in the matrix, you trapped. Closely associated with this, like I said earlier, trauma bonding. That correctional officer who might have been in similar conditions, half eating as a kid. So now you want to give kids extra that's over there acting a fool because they hungry. Instead of telling them, hey man, just be cool, behave yourself, and then we'll see. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you. So let me show you what happened one time. See, a lot of my methods were extreme, but people that are enlightened understand. They would agree with me. They say I'm a genius. So one particular time when I was still working at detention, I was working in this program named MCAP where they trying to get the guys home. So they want you to be a little strict. And they kept putting me over there because those dudes acting such a fool. They used to be like, we're going to put Howard over here. We're going to fix y'all. So a lot of them still ended up in serious crimes. But that's not really the people who ran the program's fault. Because some of them, they just was in the program just to try to get home earlier to do more stuff. So that particular day that I'm finna mention, they was talking back the whole day. I was telling them, are you going in early? See, they hated when one thing they didn't like is to have to look out their window towards the end of the night and everybody else getting their full day in and they not. So I used to be like, you going to bed early tonight. So they was just defying me and just being disrespectful and everything one particular day, right? The staff comes in there, loaded tray, just loaded. I had just talked to him. I said, I don't care if they do bring y'all something. If y'all not behaving, I'm not giving it to you. Well, we're gonna tell the supervisor. You can tell them whatever you want. And again, kind of off subject. Make sure you have side hustles. Make sure you don't let people turn you into a Stockholm syndrome person just to keep a job. A lot of people who don't suffer from it, they end up quitting that job. Because people who do suffer from Stockholm syndrome are very difficult to deal with. So, going back to the story, they brought a cart loaded with burritos, rice, all. Hey Howard, we got a whole lot of extra. You just give it to the kids and stuff. I ain't even put them in my business. I just looked at them. I threw shade at them like, they already knew what was going to happen because we had been talking about it all week. One kid in particular was like, I wouldn't be judged by what I do when his behavior was good. When he first got over there, his behavior was good. But then he started doing all kind of stuff like, you only supposed to have 2 sheets on your bed. He had 17 sheets on his bed. So I faked him out one day. They was like, Howard, you the GOAT. Because I had the support come over there. I said, hey, man, while we go to the gym, man, search their room. So he had all this stuff in his room. So when we came back, he tried to run in the room and close the door. I said, you just won't come out. I wrote him up. But that week, he was trying to vouch for each one of them to get rewarded based on what they do. No group punishment. I'm like, That work in my favor. I'm thinking to myself, that work in my favor. That's going to make things much easier for me. So that whole week, they acting a fool, talking back, fighting over the game. Because can y'all believe they have video games in there? But anyway, so they just talking back, like they going to the staff that be vouching for them, talking behind my back and stuff. And so they brought all that stuff over there. This is what I did. Check this out. When they locked in, what we do is we lock them in and we put the trays on the tables and stuff while they locked in. So what I did, I knew I was keeping track of. I knew 4 of them was good. Like they was cool. Like they wasn't giving me no problems. It was 8 of them over there at the time. And 4 of them was good. The other 4 were being disrespectful, trying to get me in trouble, just all kind of stuff. Talking back, not following directions, everything. So this is what I did. I lit the 4 out that was good. I gave them all the extra until they said, no, we good, we straight with this. Then I took all the rest. I gave the other dudes what they basic requirement and dumped the rest in the garbage. And look right at them like this. The same face. This is how you deal with young men. Y'all women is standing in the way of guys raising their kids. Guys like me, raising their kids the right way, to stay out of trouble, to work with their hands, to not to steal. There's no need to steal. These Stockholm Syndrome people will bypass everything that was done and is being done and sympathize. And it's from the top to the bottom. People suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. So I gave them what they were supposed to get and I threw the rest in the garbage. The other ones, they were full. They was full. One of them went in the garbage and grabbed a burrito. Big dude. Went in the garbage and grabbed the burrito, put it in his pants, took it to his room and ate it. So guess what happened to him? I wrote him up. See, people want to change. If I'm right about anything, if I'm right, and you try to change me to wrong, Stockholm Syndrome. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. Let me see what else I got out here. Okay. People who have Stockholm Syndrome have negative feelings towards the police or other authority figures. NWA, F the police, Stockholm Syndrome, even though I used to listen to it. Bone Thugs, one of my favorite rap groups in the 90s. No Surrender, F the cop, blah, 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 Stockholm Syndrome. Positive feelings towards their abusers / captors. The slave who loves the slave master. Sambo, Stockholm Syndrome. The 50 South, where these, I'm gonna show you something. I just did a video on racism, how you shouldn't care. I don't. Listen, man. I ain't gotta go in details. I don't care who racist. There's too many white people that's cool. The ones that ain't, whatever happened, you know what I mean? I'm not no scary guy, but I'm not no trouble starter either. So, you want to see right through the middle? That's me. I'll do what I have to do. But I'm not going to join in mindsets because we share a skin shade. So the 50 South, a lot of Stockholm Syndrome. People just trying to think and act a certain way to survive, and they end up liking some of the people who condone that very behavior, who were there when people were being lynched. But they cool with you, though. Stockholm syndrome, both sides. Sympathy for their captors' beliefs and behaviors. Stockholm syndrome, this whole country is full of it. Captors. The Bible ain't gonna enslave nobody. You understand the Bible, it's not gonna enslave you. It's gonna free you. It's gonna free your mind. That's why if the Bible was ineffective, wouldn't it be in schools? Wouldn't it be like all the rest of the propaganda? It would be everywhere. So, in closing, how do you overcome Stockholm syndrome? I got a couple things. I ain't gonna go into great details because there are people out there that don't want you to get this, and they want you to keep Stockholm syndrome so they can get you with propaganda. How do you overcome Stockholm syndrome? First thing, by uniting with the truth and others who understand the truth. You can't be hating somebody you disagree with if you can't thoroughly explain your view and your view is right. Let them vote. Like I don't hold against people who they vote for, and I try not to debate with people, but people be trying to start up with me. Like one particular guy, I had to just stop dealing with him for this reason. Like he just kept trying to push what he believed in based on his own personal feelings. Not facts, not stuff he read, not stuff he researched. And I just had to leave dude alone. So, next thing, by going by facts over feelings. Facts. Facts, or something that has been seen consistently as accurate, even if you don't know everything pertaining to it, like the Bible. And you stick to the Bible until proven otherwise. Until proven otherwise. Research everything. That's how you overcome it. When it's something that you don't understand, you start reading, you start researching, and until you learn, listen. That's it. Where people who suffer from Stockholm syndrome, they'll get on your videos, they didn't even watch the whole video, and then be commenting negative, insulting you. That's all Stockholm syndrome. All of those people suffer from it. Man, you stupid. You don't know what you're talking about, but you don't even know what I'm talking about either because you ain't even watch it. That's Stockholm syndrome. By understanding who the real enemies are, who is your real enemy, and what's fabricated. Anything that's fabricated, stop doing it. Stop doing it. I used to call myself banging in the late 80s, early 90s. When I started reading and understanding who created all that stuff, that was over and done with. That's why I was letting dudes slide. I was getting into it with guys that was doing stuff that I could have got them. But back then I was starting to wake up even when I was younger, like in my 20s. So it was a lot of things where I was letting guys slide. Because I just looked at it like it's just not worth it. I don't have anything to prove. And last that I got mentioned, by not being deceived into trusting those with favorable appearances, economic status, or accolades. Grifters will try to present themselves catering to what they believe you like. or what you desire that they have that you can't. This will put you in the Stockholm syndrome. Because when you judge a content creator on YouTube, whether it's a person, any level of life, it should not be based on how they look, what they have. Superficialness, Stockholm syndrome. It should not be based on how they look, what they have, but what they do, what they say, and your understanding of what they say. Good and bad. When you listen to them when they get angry. Look at how they respond. Is their response a correction or is their response a put down? Sometimes it's going to be put down in it, but if that's all it is, it's them telling you that they could care less. They have a certain agenda behind what they do and say. This is why you can't go by what a person has, how they look. Go by what they do, what they say, and what they don't do. If you say you helping people, then I should see people being helped. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna put on here about this. And it's not gonna be a series. Y'all might hear me coming back talking about it, but you know, I think I said enough. I don't want to get shadow banned and nothing like that. I want my channel to keep growing. But I wanted to give you a little bit on this. Friendships are lost because of Stockholm syndrome. Marriages are lost because of Stockholm syndrome. A person that's suffering from Stockholm syndrome does not need to get married. To anyone. Ever. Or a parent. You got to get that in line. Thanks for watching. Keep tuning in. This is The Truth Man. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel.